Hey everyone, my name is Eric and I'm a finance manager at a major tech company, and welcome to the Personal Finance Diaries. Here we talk real money, saving, debt, and smarter financial decisions. Today's topic is insurance, comparison sites, and what is better than MoneyGeek. Are there any alternatives? Today we're gonna dive deep into MoneyGeek and their alternatives. If you've ever been in the market for a financial product, whether that's car insurance or a mortgage or credit cards, any of those kinds of things, you've probably found yourself on a comparison site. I know I have. I use them and rely on them quite a lot, especially, let's say that you are going through a life change and you want to check where if you can get a better deal on your car insurance. Well, the first place you want to go is a comparison site so you can see what kind of options you have for your specific use case, right? And your specific scenario. And so that's where I highly recommend that you use a comparison site. The only issue is there's a lot of comparison sites. And so it might be a bit overwhelming knowing where to start, what the pros and cons of using one over another is. And so today I really want to dive into MoneyGeek. MoneyGeek is very well-known comparison site, specifically in the insurance space. And so if you've ever looked for car insurance or renter's insurance, home insurance, even pet insurance, you probably found yourself on one of these sites, and specifically MoneyGeeks is one of those. Now, MoneyGeek specifically has a lot of great pros. I personally think it is a great site to use, specifically for insurance. That's one of the negatives that I can say right off the bat with MoneyGeeks is that it is only tailored for insurance. Now, it really depends on you, but if you're looking for a more holistic kind of platform, you might want to look elsewhere because this is honed in on that niche of insurance. So here I am on the official MoneyGeek website, and my whole point here is I'm gonna kind of walk through MoneyGeek, the pros and cons of it, and then we'll actually walk through some other alternatives that you might have that might work a little bit better for your specific situation. So first thing you're gonna notice when you go to MoneyGeeks is kind of like what I was alluding to earlier, is that it's all very specific to insurance. Whether it's auto insurance, home insurance, even travel insurance, they have you covered specific to that niche. You can see here, these are some of the main partners that they work with. And then what I really like about MoneyGeek is that you actually have these calculators that show up straight away as soon as you enter the website. So whether you are looking for auto insurance, I really like that I can go here, I can put my zip code. It's gonna give me an average monthly full coverage rate by that zip code. And so in this case, it's saying $229. I personally pay a little bit more than that. So maybe I should actually use this comparison site again and get a new rate. But what I like here is you click get quotes. Of course, it's gonna take you straight away to this site, and it's gonna start, asking you some questions that you can answer, and ultimately it will give you a recommendation. So I won't do this in this video, but that's kind of the idea, is you can kind of go straight here, and actually if you go back, it already starts giving me a little bit of a tracker here. So I can say my current insurer, I can say is Allstate, my age is this, multiple vehicles no, homeowner no. So right away it kind of gives me the top options, and then of course you'd actually have to click on see my quote to get the actual quote. So I don't actually get the dollar amount straight away here. But I like that it gives me kind of an idea of what I could expect to pay. At first glance, I love how user-friendly it is, like I was mentioning. I love how you can go in here and you can quickly click on your auto insurance. You can get the data backed by the experts as to how much you would expect to be paying in a specific state. So I'm in Florida, you can tell me like what would be the cheapest company to go with. So having all this information right up front is super useful. I really like that about MoneyGeeks. Separately, you have all these different calculators, which is great. You have it within the beginning. As soon as you go into MoneyGeek, you have the calculators, which is to me super valuable. And then you also have the numbers here and exactly like what backs what they do, right? Like they have the experience and they have the data to back the information they're providing you. And so to me, those are kind of the measures that I like to track when I'm looking at a comparison site. Separately, one thing that I look at is how transparent they are about how they make money. And I actually don't see that right up front. Most likely it's probably like about us or something like that. Or maybe I have to click a little bit more, but if I click here, at first glance, I'm not able to see, oh, right here. Okay, advertising editorial disclosures. So to me, that's important. Like being able to be transparent with the consumer is highly valuable, makes you trust them more. And so that's something up front that I like about MoneyGeeks. You can quickly see here. Now, of course, once you actually try to get a quote, you get your estimate. Okay, so I got to the end, and ultimately what it asked me for is my email. And so to me, it's super important that they're not asking me for my phone number. I personally don't like handing out my phone number because then I get a bunch of calls and I get spammed, and I'm not a big fan of that. I've had bad experiences with it. So that's another thing I like to track is like, okay, do they give you the number straight away? That's number one. Two, like what kind of information they ask of you to get that initial view of the market. And you can see that MoneyGeek does provide quite a lot of value right away without me having to put in any information. If I go back to the main site, you can see that right away, if I click auto insurance and I scroll down a little bit, I can already get an estimate of what I would expect to pay. So then of course, once you're like happy with what you're looking for, you can get a specialized one. You can put your email in and you can get kind of a more specialized rate. So that's a big pro of MoneyGeek. Now, what are some of the negatives and what are some of the alternatives that you might want to go with a different comparison site to start? Well, another one that I think is pretty popular is actually Policygenius. At first glance, you go here and you can see it's a completely different experience versus MoneyGeek, right? In terms of user interface. You can scroll down, you see their customers, you see their stats here. So I love to look at the data. So they've served over 30 million people. They've insured more than 320,000, or they've placed more than 320,000 life insurance policies, and they supposedly seem to be working basically all year round. So that's really nice. You can see here how they break it down and how they make the process. Now, Policygenius, and talking about how they make money, you can see it right here, how they do it. Policygenius is different from your typical comparison site. Policygenius is actually kind of an independent insurance broker. So what they do and how they built this site is actually, let's just assume we're going with auto, right? You go to auto and right away it goes and asks me questions. So it's not like I can find information or data as easily available as MoneyGeek, right? Like I have to kind of, it's designed for you to go in and provide information, get on a call with a broker that will actually try to give you the best deal that they can find for you, and they're of course going to take a commission off of that. So that's kind of how Policygenius works, which is kind of a different experience, less comparison per se, and more like you're working with someone, you're going to provide information, they're going to give you a free quote based on what the information and data that they have, but it's not like I can quickly find a comparison breakdown here, right? If I click home, it goes straight to questions. Right, and I can answer some stuff here just to see, log in. See, it asks me to log in. If I go to auto and answer some questions, no, it asks me my zip code. Like I'm just gonna put a random zip code. Ask me for my information. So you can kind of tell the difference here. They are really working to just get the information, the contact information from you, and then go straight into a call and actually provide that value. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. I just think that when you're first getting started with comparing different insurance codes and things like that, I personally like to see it straight away. And this just applies for any financial product. I like to see what my options are before I'm hopping on a call with someone. So that's my point of view. I think Policygenius could be definitely great for you and can probably save a lot of money. And you kind of working with someone, after you answer some questions, you can kind of you might be able to get a better deal and whatnot, but it's a different user experience, and that's something that to me makes me want to check other sites before I move on to this one. But this is a very popular one, and not necessarily a bad one, just depends on what you're looking for. Now, another one that is a great comparison site is Best Money. And so Best Money's biggest advantage over some of these other sites is that it's more holistic to the overall finance industry. So it's not just tailored for insurance. And they do have insurance. You can see here you have car insurance, you have life insurance, pet insurance, and even more, right? I can click show more. So you can see they have a bunch of different products offerings. So when you're looking for a more holistic site that provides backup and support across the whole ecosystem, whether you need a loan on a mortgage, whether you need a debt consolidation, whether it's online banking, maybe it's credit cards. This is where you can get that, and that's Best Money. And so you can see the user interface is quite nice. You go straight into kind of the options that you have. You can see the trusted brands that they work with, and then they provide kind of, let's say if it's loans, these are some of the information that you could get. These are the top kind of partners that they work with. When it comes to insurance, you can kind of see here who they work with as well. And then you even get full reviews from people in the industry. So that's what's really unique and nice. As you scroll down, you have editorial picks, which is very basically articles that break down and kind of help you as you're getting into this financial product, learning a little bit more about it. Talking about the data, you can see here, they have over 50 financial experts. They have 3,000 plus hours researched. And this to me is the best part, over 100 comparison tools and calculators and more. So you can see you're kind of covered across the board. You have a lot of options on Best Money. And so if you're looking for a platform that kind of provides a more well-rounded experience across the fleet, then I think Best Money could be your bet. Now, I'm a big fan of having diversification, like trying different things. And so what you'll notice is that they might have different partners on these comparison sites. So I prefer kind of working with multiple comparison sites, seeing what they give me, and then comparing the comparison sites. And that way I ensure I'm getting a better idea of the entire market. It's only gonna take me an extra like 5-10 minutes to get it, but at least now I have a bigger picture of what's available. And I personally really like how Best Money provides all these different options in one place. So if I'm looking for a personal loan, I can go straight here and I can break down, I can put exactly what I'm looking to do. Let's say it's a medical expense, and it will break down exactly what the APR would be and what my best option is for my specific situation. And that to me is very, very valuable. Now, from a transparency standpoint, Best Money also has their advertising disclosure right at the top here. So I was just clicking around on credit cards, and you can see right away kind of how they make money and advertisement, featured products from our partners. So they provide that transparency, which I think is very important, and also allow you to kind of toggle between different options across the board and get kind of a table straight away of what your options are. Now on insurance specifically, let's go ahead and just click like life insurance. You'll see how they kind of break it down. It kind of is designed a little bit like an article. You can see kind of how many visitors they have, who's reviewing it. So this is a finance and insurance expert, and it kind of allows you to better understand who's providing these recommendations. And so right away you can kind of see, hey, like what your age is, how much your income is, and then it will toggle and give you options based on your situation. Now, one main thing to keep in mind here is that it doesn't actually provide straight away the number, the amount of money that it's gonna cost me to have this life insurance. It does give you like a fast application or the pros and cons. You can kind of see here what they have to offer, but what they don't have is actually a straight up number amount that you can take a look at and run with it. And so that's kind of one negative that I would say about specifically this financial product, which is insurance within Best Money. What I do like is they have the scoring. They provide exactly how they break down the scoring, and they rate it accordingly. And then of course, if you want to see the rate, you can click view rates and it will give you the rates, right? But it's not as quick. You don't get kind of like that direct, you don't get that direct number right up front to compare to as you do in some of the other products. So if I do the same thing for credit cards, like I was showing earlier, you do have the exact welcome bonus that you're gonna get, the annual fee, you get all that breakdown in one place, which I really like. So that's where maybe for other products, financial products, you might wanna go, you might wanna do MoneyGeeks, which is very specific to insurance. And then for others, you might wanna go here. But what I like about Best Money, again, is that it's holistic. It brings across all the different financial products into one place, and you kind of are covered no matter what the financial product is. You're covered here. And while maybe it might not provide all the different options right away, you do have, the numbers behind everything, you do have backed reviews from financial experts that can provide kind of their 2 cents on what makes sense for your situation, which is great. The last option I'm gonna give is insure.com. So insure.com is very similar to that of MoneyGeeks in the sense that it's an insurance-based website that provides very similar experience to that of MoneyGeek. So you go here, you have auto, life, health, Medicare, home, you have it all in one place. You can start, going here and seeing like the compare quotes. As we scroll down a little bit more, one of the cool things about insure.com is they have plenty of calculators. You can see here they have a cost of living calculator, for example. So if you've ever gotten a job offer in another state, you might want to consider using one of these calculators, right? I know I have to understand, hey, like, am I going to be able to keep the same lifestyle that I have in the current role that I'm in? And so being able to view all the tools and calculators right up front in the site is really cool. I also like that they have a full report based on, one of the key things, which is inflation, how the prices are changing on insurance. And then as you keep scrolling down, you'll see they have it set by the type of insurance. So you have your auto, life, health, home guides, all in one place. And then as well as their staff of experts, you can ask questions to your experts here, which is pretty cool. And then separately, as you scroll up, let's say that we go in, you can kind of see on auto, right? The first thing that it says is compare quotes and with a zip code. And so kind of go straight into the questions. I don't know if it provides, see what's interesting is like, as I click here and I go back, it actually goes and gives me a new user interface, which is kind of unique. And similar to what happened with MoneyGeek, it almost like changes the initial website. So something to keep in mind. But so let's just say this, I'm just gonna put some random stuff. I'm gonna click update and let's see what it gives me. Yeah, so very cool that it kind of actually does provide some filterization. You can filter and it'll give you the best option. But similar to some of these other platforms that I've been mentioning, they don't provide the exact rate, right? You have to click see rate. And in this case, it's gonna kind of take you straight to the Progressive website and you kind of have to fill in the information again. It's not actually providing you the stats to compare to within this platform, which is something that I think is not my favorite, right? I wanna be able to go straight in and compare right away. So that's one of the negatives, and that's where I think MoneyGeek has an advantage, is that it provides actual dollar amounts on the average on what you would expect to pay, and that in itself is worth a lot to me. I personally really like that. But again, it's very limited to just insurance. So that's where something like Best Money can provide a more holistic approach to your financial desires and financial needs, especially with all the tools that it has, all the calculators. Again, insure.com also has these kind of calculators, and it does provide some of those kinds of options. So I'll end with this, and actually you can kind of see how the home insurance looks here as well. They provide those top 3 options. You can see here some reviews, so they'll actually go in and review all these specific companies. Very similar approach across all these comparison sites. Oh, and here you can see the average premium. So this is cool. You did have to scroll a little bit. You did have to kind of look through, but you can see here what the average premium would look like and how they rate it with pros and cons. One last thing that I didn't talk about, and that is, how do they make money? So can I see how they make money right up front? Let's see. So if I'm clicking, let's say home, it goes right to here. I don't know why. It's almost like I have to actually click for it to go back here and actually provide the information. I don't see the disclaimer. Oh, okay, sponsored is here. So, okay, so you have to click a little bit through, but you can kind of see they do have their disclaimer of how they're making money. And so that's also important, and you can edit here a little bit and get your experience. So I would say it's a little bit less straightforward than some of the other sites. Kind of have to click around a little bit to get to certain things. But I love how all the calculators they have here. I love that they're breaking down kind of a report on insurance, which is insurance inflation, which is something that is definitely important. And you're kind of getting a breakdown here directly on the site. So in summary, I think it just depends and boils down to what you're looking for. If you're looking for very specifically insurance-based products, I think it's worth checking a couple sites, checking a couple comparison sites, seeing what they give you, and then comparing the comparison sites. But if you're looking for a more holistic, well-rounded platform, Best Money will really provide that. You can kind of see all of your different things in one place, and you can compare across personal loans, across renters insurance. I mean, you have a lot to work with here. again, you also have all these calculators and comparison tools, which you can use. And I highly recommend that everybody uses them. Thanks for hanging out with me on the Personal Finance Diaries. If you found this useful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We're all about making smarter money moves. I'll see you next time.